Welcome to
Hey,
the
Jeff.
huddle, everybody. We come at you every single week on Tuesdays at 3 p.m. Central to discuss maintaining forward progress in your flooring career. We just finished up a 4-part series with Daniel and Jose of Preferred Flooring out of Michigan on relationships. I went back and watched some of that, some of those videos on YouTube. There's some good stuff in there. So if you missed that series, I would highly recommend you go check it out on YouTube and or one of our LinkedIn accounts. I know that we share on our social as well as YouTube, and so does Preferred Flooring on a lot of their social channels. So there's some good stuff in there, guys. You had some good nuggets. So
I think everybody was a contributor for sure.
Yeah, I agree. And the way it was broken up into individual kind of circumstances or people, I guess, how to have, because forming relationships, there's this underlying concepts, but to do it, in a meaningful way, you kind of got to customize those for each type of person you may be building a relationship with. There's some do's and don'ts in there, and a lot of good stuff came out. So we're coming up on 2023, guys. How do you feel?
I can't believe 2022 is at the end right now. Like, where did it go? Like,
No, I remember thinking in June, like it's already halfway over at the end of June, and here we are already.
You know what?
We were December, and
we were sitting at the FCICA that mid-year meeting together. I was thinking the same thing, like, holy smokes, where's time going? And now,
yeah, doesn't that seems like it's just as yesterday, though.
It does. Like, can't believe it.
Well, hopefully Santa got the kids everything they wanted, and you guys too.
Yeah.
But here we go. 2023 is right around the corner here. We've got one more extended holiday time off for a lot of industries, and I know a lot of people are setting New Year's resolutions and goals and things of that nature. I don't think there's anything wrong with that whatsoever, as long as it's the habit is trying to execute on those goals, and the habit's not just setting new goals every year that you don't actually have a plan to to execute on. That being said, what's your guys's 2023 kind of outlook?
You want to do like a personal and a work or business? Is that?
Yeah, I think so. Right, this week's huddles on what we'd like to see in 2023. And just, I'm thinking we could turn this into a 3-part series. I think it'd be good. And it's really like, what are your, from an industry standpoint, what do we want to see in 2023? And let's talk to some of the organizations. Let's get the FCAF on and the NTCA, and get their outlooks and their feedbacks and share that with the audience. And we could do the same for installers and companies, and maybe make it a little bitty series here. But what we'd like to see in 2023, I think, is a personal, industry, and companies. So
go ahead, Danny, you can start.
Oh,
did we lose him?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. I don't know. Industry and business wise, I just it's really hard to find people right now, so maybe finding a few good people would do us some good, and just keep on moving forward. Personally, awesome. It's go on vacation without kids. That was horrible.
Oh, that's funny.
That is hilarious. I'll go ahead and add to that. Like Daniel said too, right? Like, find out why it's so hard to find people. Would probably be one of my goals, I guess, is try to find out why, not just us, but why everyone in general is having a hard time maintaining, maybe the trades, maintaining in-house employees versus the subcontractor. You know, why do people go back and forth? Trying to find out the reasons why would probably help in maintaining, retaining, and maybe developing new relationships. You know, I'm definitely open to a conversation on that with whoever is finding success in that category for sure, because we don't seem to be finding very much success in that category lately. A lot of people around us don't. So that would be a goal for 2023.
Well, maybe we can unpack that a little bit on a future huddle and maybe even a little bit on this huddle, but
yeah. And then personally, I mean, the personal thing is just, you know, trying to, and this is personal and work, right? Like trying to be smarter, more efficient with my time. Overextending myself on a personal level, like at home and or at work, which causes stress on one end or the other. That's might be too many projects. Less projects. There we go. Less projects.
It's never less projects. It's always more projects.
there you go. Well, I think for me, it's like what I'd like to see is, or from an industry perspective, I'd just like to see our training and access to training and the ability to be more. I would like that in the industry that, you know, the players or the participants in training flooring installers to have more presence and more people know about them and their you know, their training events and their certifications and such, because one of the main responses we get at Go Carrera when we ask people why they're not certified is because they don't know where, or they don't have any trainings, they don't know about them, or they don't know where to go. Literally, some people don't even know about, say, CFI or NASCT or any of them.
Right.
So I think, you know, as an industry, and this isn't just their responsibility, it's part of what we do on this call. We talk about this all the time. So I'm hoping that grabs hold a little bit better. I'm hoping 2023 for companies maybe results in or maybe matures throughout the year, and the market doesn't go into this super low bid. I've been through a few downturns, and I've been through the 2008 recession. People get really desperate. Companies do, and will bid work too cheap, and they'll have their labor numbers too cheap, and those kinds of things. I'm hoping that does not happen. I'm hoping that as an industry, we're able to maintain decent margins as companies, I should say, and that we don't punish the installer, particularly the independent, you know, subcontracting installer. You know, it's not like you can go lower your in-house guys' wages, so they're pretty safe.
Right.
It's the subs, you know, a lot of times they get squished and pushed down, and they get you know, pressured for cheaper prices. And I'm just hoping that doesn't happen this year, as the market seems to be slowing a little bit. So
That's a good point. You know what, that kind of makes me realize that projected goals, right, might only be a solution for the problem that is in front of you. Because what Daniel said and what I said, and even what you started with, if we start and we find a solution for that and we find those answers, all that does is move on to trying to find the solution for the next issue that we have, right? So what you just said right there, yeah, that makes a lot of sense. It's blanketed overall because you can start on this side of it or you start on that side of it, but it all equals the same solution at the end, right? You're hoping for more prosperous opportunities, more opportunities, period. And more opportunities equals more work equals more entrepreneurs, more employees. And that's, you're right. I agree with that, man.
Yeah. And I guess, speaking to yours and Daniel's point, I'd love for installers out there that are not, to do an inventory check or maybe a self-assessment. And if you're not doing so well as a sub, whether it's you're behind on taxes or there's some other things that are plaguing your company, maybe think about working for somebody. I hate to say it, but I get garnishment letters on subs even, here and there. And that I'm hoping I don't see any more of those. I'm hoping that,
Right.
Those guys that maybe need that oversight or they need that company to withhold the funds and pay it in for them on taxes and on child support issues or whatever. If you're having problems covering those things, it's a pretty good sign, because we just went through one hell of a upturn. I mean, it was busy. I didn't talk to anybody who wasn't busy. So it was the right time to be making money as a sub and as a company. And if you're not, or you've had some issues there, you might think about, if you're in Michigan, call these guys and go to work for Daniel and Jose, some of the greatest guys you'll meet, and awesome at the technical side of the flooring business. So great
that's all
guys.
Daniel.
But yeah, maybe think about working for a company. I'm just hoping for a prosperous 2023, that a downturn does not end up erasing a lot of the gains that were made over the last couple of years for subs.
Right.
A
lot of guys look at it as, because our industry is more, I want to be my own boss, I want to be independent and all this. And realistically, like, we talked about it a few episodes ago, if the guys that we were working for would have just said, all right, we'll give you this, extra week of vacation or whatever, we'd probably still be working for a company right now. But it's,
I wonder if there's and I don't know, and obviously this is trade specific, right? But is there like a survey that subcontractors or any proprietor can take to see
I think if you just look at the groups, and when someone talks about hourly employees, how much bashing there is on there about, you're leaving money on the table, you're only hurting yourself. It's like, it goes on and on about how you should only do your own thing if you're in the industry, and that's it. But like you said, you get those guys, you're getting garnishments for them, and it's like, if you're not good with making money hourly, you're not going to be good with making money, per square foot either. It doesn't just magically, turn off, or I'm making more money, so that's going to solve all my problems. That's not how it is. It's actually, you got to be more in control of it.
Yeah, if you can't manage your hourly money, you're not going to be able to manage sub money. I think that there's also this, the overarching deal is our industry has this big push for, sorry, my granddaughter's here with me today, so you may see her walk behind me every now and again.
Totally fine. Might as well introduce her. Mine as well.
but we'll bring her in here in a little bit to introduce her at the end. But when you're working, there's more responsibility on a sub than there is hourly, obviously. So I think if people self-assess and honestly, like, look at it, if all your bills are paid and things are going well and you pay your employees well and you're set up and your guys that work under you or for you are actual employees and you're doing it the right way, amen. But do some self-assessment and maybe you need to work for a company. And if you do, there's plenty looking. So
and that's what I was trying to say. I wonder if there's something out there for us as an industry to self-assess. If there's a survey for us to take to see where algorithms would place an individual, like.
Well, I can tell you a couple of bring up 2 points. First off, Go Carrera can do that. We can, survey all the installers on the network. We're building a feature now to be able to do that, to be able to talk to the entire industry, or our entire network. So when a new feature comes out, that a video goes out on how to use the feature, information goes out, and that same mechanism could be used for something like that, Jose, which would be like, hey, how satisfied are you currently as an hourly employee or something like that, or some level of
right,
that.
Or as a sub, because it goes both
or
ways.
as a sub.
The garnishment thing is right. Like when we worked hourly, like people, oh man, I'm being garnished. Oh man, child support. Oh man, old back taxes from when I was a sub. This and that. There's just a lot of things, and when you're hourly, you're right. It gives more work on the office staff. They have to do a little bit more work on their end, but you do get that debt taken care of that way. And as a sub getting a 1099, you have the option to dodge it as long as possible until you're backed into a corner, but you can still find a way to dodge it.
Well, I'm no accountant, guys, and I'm not going to give financial advice, but I will give you this: don't dodge your freaking taxes.
Yeah, please don't,
because I'm telling you right now, it never goes away, and
Yeah.
you will end up paying it in one, if nothing else, and you'd never paid it and you died. You pay that can get transferred to your to other people. First off, secondly, you did pay for it. You just paid for it in stress and regret your whole life, always worried about the tax man getting you. I would just suggest, if you can't run a business, there's no harm, there's no like negative to go work for a company, take some classes, learn about business, and then go back out on your own when you feel like you've got a good plan and a good handle on things. I'm not saying don't be a sub. I support subs. I have no reason for good subs not to exist. I love them. But I also have plenty of hourly employee installers, and I love those guys too. And I hope that, I think it's about being in the right spot for yourself and how you are as a person and how well you are at managing risk and managing. I literally got a phone call somewhere around noon today from a sub asking to come to work for me by the hour. Got I guess drug through the dirt on a project and didn't get paid by someone. I don't know the story behind it, but they likely did not have a written agreement, which is another big problem with subcontractors. They don't get written agreements from the companies that they work for. That's why Go Carrera, when companies who use Go Carrera, every time they create a work order, that is a digital contract. Everything on there is enforceable by law, and it's enforceable on both sides. So it's a very equitable scenario. So, if you're a sub and you're out there just taking work on, notebook paper, or you're taking work on verbal agreements, stop doing that. Figure out a way, join the Go Career Network, work with companies who give you work orders through that, or encourage your company to get on the Go Career Network so that they can start giving you, appropriate work orders.
Right. And even deeper than that, because we've been in the situation before to where it's like you're talking about subcontractors and then the companies lowering the rates and stuff, and then they feel strong armed to like, if I don't do this, they're not going to give me any more work. And it's like sometimes you have to realize that no work is better than the work that you're going to be doing losing money.
Yeah,
And
diversify.
cutting ties with some of these companies, right? Because if they're not gonna appreciate you, why are you gonna keep on building them up? And
Yeah.
we know too many guys that, even that we've talked to personally that have come in the office and they're like, can we do something for you guys? And then we have them do a job, and then I'm like, hey, send me an invoice, and he's like, can I just go ahead and give this work order back to you? It's like, man, that means you're not keeping track of anything.
Yeah. Yeah.
Like,
That's why, um, that's why we found such a big need for Go Carrera. To be honest, one of the biggest things it does is give the sub some accounting tools. You can see what you ran throughout the year. You can, have your accountant just jump into your account and download all the transactions they need to do your taxes that year. Like it makes it, it gives all the tools that a sub needs to be a sub. But even with Go Carrera, if you don't execute, then you probably need to be an hourly. That's to me, that's reasonable. So yeah, that's what I'd love to see in 2023 is just more access to trainings, better, more marketing continued marketing, I should say, to the high schoolers and that stuff. They seem to have gotten some really good traction, the FCEF over 2022, in 2021.
Yeah, they're making waves for sure.
Yeah. So I'd like to see that really hit almost mainstream and have like community colleges, 30 or 40 of them running their program. That would be fantastic.
So with the
to
approach,
someone, go ahead.
Go ahead. No, go ahead, dude.
We talked to someone local here, right? And it was us and a few of the other companies in the area. And what happened is that those other companies are just, what can you do to get me more bodies right now? It's not, I want to have qualified people. It's, I just want people. And if this is an avenue to get more people in, then I want to be a part of it. But I don't want to put in any money and I don't want to put in any time. I just want the people. So it's up to the point to where, they emailed us back and they're like, yeah, there's too far of a separation on your guys' ideas. It's not going to work.
Yeah, right. As of right now, it's not going to work, and some of it I understand they have to operate on volunteer time until the program gets traction, and we would find a way to make that happen. But at the same time, it's I'm long term for the program versus a quick fix on one of the podcasts we had, the labor shortage, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like, how much of it was a labor shortage because of qualified people, certified people, versus versus just bodies. I was looking at it as an opportunity to build the economy in our area over the next 5 to 10 years instead of build somebody else's labor workforce right away. It's just,
well, there's the if you want an independent quick labor resource, then you need to join Go Carrera. If you want to work on your employee installer and build your company up in a way long term, then that's what the FCEF's doing. I think it's not probably a good place to start to think that you're going to get a bunch of high schoolers to come into your company with 8-10 weeks of training and solving your labor problems. No, they're causing you more work. If you're going to be a part of hiring the graduates of their program, of the FCEF program, you still have work to do. Like they still need
And,
training. They still need to be made. You still need to make sure that they're with the right type of installer. Like you cannot just, that's not a quick fix. What they're doing is more of a long-term fix.
I wonder too, like, we talked about the FCF and the traction that they have. I wonder if some of the other organizations can just be a little more open to putting a face and a name out there to get a little more traction in their silo of the industry, right? I wonder if that's it, because FCEF is pretty broad. They're bringing attention to everything. Go Carrera is definitely putting the name out for everything all at once, but I wonder if these other entities as individuals could put forth a little more effort in 2023 to bring more awareness.
You mean like individual, like one?
Yeah,
so for example, like the NTCA that's just in tile.
Yeah, like hey, put forth a little bit of effort, not just to your market, right? Not just to those guys, but maybe there's somebody out there who might be attracted to that, who has no idea that program exists. And if they're not offering awareness to everybody all at once, then nobody ever know. And
well, it's kind of a good point. And the reason I say that is because one of the problems, I think, is so many of the organizations are just trying to get you to sign up for their thing. They're trying to get you to be, like a member of the NTCA or a member of CFI or member of this or a member of that. Like focus on, and the union or install, they're the same. Like it's like a catalyst to then get you into the union.
Right.
It's like, let's focus on making our talent better at every level. And
every level, yes, 100%.
Not so focused on getting more members necessarily, but improving the health of the installer community.
And another thing too is you made me think about this. It's not one installer is just going to go after one organization or affiliation to be a part of, right? If they get their foot in the door with option A, then they're going to find out about option B, C, and D anyway, or vice versa. And they're going to inquire on that if they want to further their education, if they want to learn more. They're going to look at all those resources. So the more educated and involved an individual, an installer, or a company gets, the more options they find, and it's going to just broaden their horizons. They're not going to say, I'm just going to stick with you and that's it. Like, I don't use one type of adhesive and just stick with that and that's it. I don't just use one prep, or we don't just install one flooring. It's just, you have to entertain them all in order to remain relevant, to be honest with you, or to stay with the times.
I think in order for more people to, because you brought up the point earlier that a lot of people don't know about these organizations. And when you go to at least distributors around here, there's no information, right? And you have all these manufacturers, you have all the manufacturers preaching, this organization, we're affiliated with them, but distributors don't do that. And that's where all the installers go, is to the distributor.
Yeah. You just made me think of that Dave Chappelle skit where he said, I drink Coke and Pepsi, but Pepsi paid me most recently, so I like Pepsi better. and that might be what it is, but Daniel's right. Like, your local distributors, as small scale as that might be, that's the most common place for a individual installer to go and purchase hand tool supplies, the specialty tools. And that's probably a great place for these places to start. I don't want to say advertising, right? But essentially it is advertising. But that's a really good point there, Dan. That's a good place to start, and to put some kind of effort into something like that.
Well, the distributors, if they could team up, or training entities could team up with them and make sure that the flyers are on the counter, and that the counter guys or the salesmen at the distributors are actively pushing the training that's in the area. That is, that's one of the big pushes for us, is to get our counter pieces on at every Dow tile, and allow, now that's just one distributor. Of course, they have 300 locations, but and then pushing people to the training page of Go Career. Go Career has nothing to do with it. We just put that resource together so that people can go on and have one aggregated spot to look. We got to do a better job of that this year, like getting every training that could possibly be gotten. I think we're probably 80% on that deal, but we're trying. And I think that I'm hoping that that's a big push this year, that people go get trained. People go, you start investing in yourself. I think one of our first podcasts together was about investing, in yourself and your tools and your equipment. And I'm hoping that that happens a lot this year. I'm hoping that installers really see start to that it kind of has to be driven by the industry, like the expectation. And I'm hoping that, with a high enough expectation, that the guys and men and women in our installation community take that step to continue to go get, more training, and build themselves, and really invest in themselves. And when I say training, I do mean flooring training, but I also mean financial training. Like, there's plenty of courses online that can teach you some real, basic fundamental practices in managing your finances. There's all kinds of stuff, but people have to take the step on their own. That's one thing. If it's so easy, then or if you need it to be that easy that you're not even willing to do a little Google searching, then you probably should be a employee installer. Right back to that.
Man, it's weird how everything kind of circles back, right? And it goes full circle. Like,
I'm not saying get rid of subs by any stretch. I'm just saying, like, let's make sure that, well, we can't make sure. You got to make sure yourself that you're really set up.
Set yourself up for success.
Yeah. And I don't know if a lot of people know this too, but there was one point when I had to give up working, having I had a thing before, a business before preferred flooring, but I had to give that up to go work hourly, because there was just that point after 9/11 where, it took a little bit to hit, but I wasn't over my head, right? Like, there was no way that I could sustain what I was doing and be successful and put myself or the people that were working with me at the time in a position for success in the direction I was going. So I waited probably until it was a little bit too late, but not to the point where there was no digging myself out. But I did, man. I went back in. I bit the bullet. I don't want to say I made a deal, but I made a deal. Like, this company wanted me to come back and work for them hourly, but I had guys who needed to put food on the table for their families, and I worked them into the deal. I didn't really get the best part of the deal, right? But it wasn't about me, right? It was about all of us as a whole, and they were taking care of him. Daniel was part of that, a couple other gentlemen, and those other gentlemen are in a really good spot right now. Like, they're we've since separated and don't work together anymore, but they're doing well for themselves, man. And had I not made that choice then, I'm sure that they'd still be doing well for themselves, but I don't know where I would have been, right? Yeah. Mindset might have been different if I waited another month or 2 months. But I had to make a choice, and I felt like my choice affected more than myself.
Yeah, I agree. I started as an hourly, so I got that taste first. probably the reason I became a sub was the company that I was working for was like treating us as subs anyway. We were paid by the hour and we did get W-2s, but we got no vacation, no days off, no holiday days off, no, I mean, like you got the holiday off, but you didn't get paid. So we all tried to work
Right.
on holidays, like, and no vacation time or anything like that. So I was like, well, if I'm not going to have any of that anyway, I might as well go work for myself, you know? So I kind of started as an hourly employee first, but either way, I'm not saying that there is the path. I'm just saying there's a path, and for you to pick that path, you really need to be cognizant of what your skill sets are. And if you want to be a sub or you want to own your own install company, that's fine, but please try to get out and get educated on all the stuff you need. You may be a fine flooring installer, but if you're not good with money, or you don't understand or have the discipline to, you know, put money aside for your taxes and your, you know, a little nest egg for, you know, fixing equipment and taking care of your trucks and your cars. And I mean, there's a lot that goes into it. I mean, I think anybody that's in flooring has probably either had the experience themselves or knows someone who had the experience of being an hourly employee, doing the math that you know gets paid out on it and saying, man, I should be a sub, you know, like either you've done that yourself or you certainly know someone who has. So
I agree with that. And hey, that's where the sim program comes in handy too, right? Like if you're an employee or a sub, it would actually help shed some light on some of the responsibilities as an employee from an employee perspective, but it also helps shed some light if you're a sub looking to grow or to add to what you're doing, and it give you an idea of additional responsibilities to think about.
yeah, it gives you a good insight into, you know, what flooring companies have to deal with and what kind of that side is, so you can better work with them. Whoever wins this next week is going to be, it's a real treat, I think. So,
Is that when the drawing is next week?
yep, drawings, isn't it next week?
Is it this week?
The week after. 10th. Sorry.
Okay.
Week after. But anyway, yeah, that's a great, I think that's great for everybody. Well, I'm we may not be doing this next week as far as digging deeper into 2023, but this month, this January, I think we'll do a series on setting yourself up for success in 2023 and see if we can get we'll get some guest panelists on. I've been asked several times by multiple people about being on the podcast with us. So this year, that's more of my personal goal, is to have you know, a dozen of the podcasts maybe be with you know, more panelists in with us, and trying to add some expertise to some of our talking. So,
and if there's
that being said,
anybody listening or watching, if you guys have anybody in mind or anything in mind that you need any questions that you might need answered or want answers to or information, hey, go ahead and ask, and let's share. Let's see what we can do about trying to find an answer or finding the right person to help.
Or come on, you know, come on to the podcast. We're pretty low key here. It's not real hard to get on here. It's like, if you want to be on and have a chat with us, I think all of us, I know Daniel and Jose feel the same way. It's like, I'm not saying I have all the answers. I just have 25 years of experience and a lot of hard knocks, and I have that experience that I can share. You guys have your experience that you can share. It doesn't mean we have all the answers. So if you got some ideas, or you want to come on and ask some questions or pose some solutions to the audience, I encourage you just to shoot us an email and support at Go Career and say, I'd like to be on the podcast, and then I'll reach out to you and we'll get you on.
Heck yeah, I like it.
Well, this is short, not that short, 40 minutes. Crazy. We were
Shorter,
talking about how
shorter.
quick time goes. So I wish you guys the best. I wish our industry the best for 2023. I'll leave you, at least my perspective here is, we're gonna have to work hard, folks. 2023 is gonna have its own unique challenges, just like 2022 did, and the years before that. Be prepared to pivot and make some adjustments throughout the year, and just be ready to work hard in 2023. It's going to be I think it can be a very rewarding year for those who understand that things can get tough and still be very prosperous. It doesn't, just because it gets a little harder or a little tougher, doesn't mean it can't be prosperous. So let's have a prosperous 2023 by understanding that sometimes that means like pulling your bootstraps up and really getting ready for a good, hard-working year. Nothing wrong with that. Sometimes the years go, you can't bat the work away there so much, and then sometimes you're going to be trying to drive the nail to the bottom, or some people in your market may be trying to drive the price down to the bottom. Don't participate. We've pulled out of several bids already because we found out who's bidding it, and we just said it's not worth our time until and the GCs will have to make their adjustments to make sure that they're getting the competitive bids they want. But if somebody's misusing labor by driving their labor prices down, this might be a really strong statement, but you kind of have an enemy in me. If you're driving labor down and trying to just beat your subs to death to get work, I think you're going about it wrong. And I have a pretty firm belief in that. Like, do your best to maintain the gains that these gentlemen and women have made over the last couple of years in increasing prices, and try to find an advantage that you have over your competitors that doesn't boil down to being the absolute cheapest person in the market.
Yep, you're right on that one.
All right, my friend. Well, we lost your brother. Tell him.
Oh, we did?
Yeah.
Bye, Daniel.
He dropped off about 5 minutes ago, and
he probably tooted and then got embarrassed and hung up. Like, oh no, they heard that. I'm just gonna say I had.
Well, I want to
service.
wish you guys up there some warm days and a very prosperous 2023. Have a good New Year's. We'll catch you next week, and we're going to be drawing for the Forward Progress scholarship on the 10th, and we're gonna do it live. It's gonna be fun, and I make that announcement every week. Other than that, I feel like we ought to ready break.
Yes, sir.
All right, man.
You have
Well,
yourself
thanks
a
for
good New
joining
Year
me.
too,
Tell your
brother.
brother I said best of luck this year, and we will be in touch.
All right, brother. Have a good one.
All right, thanks, my
Bye,
friend.
everyone.
Bye.